Bridge. Let's just bring you the results from the rest of the Premier League today. Well, you may not like August, but Harry Kane loves September, scoring 11 goals in 6 Tottenham appearances, including 2 today in their 4-0 win at Huddersfield. Bournemouth kept their first clean sheet in 10 Premier League games, but failed to get the better of Leicester. Manchester United scored 4 goals in a game for the 6th time this season as Crystal Palace's wait for a first Premier League point goes on. Stoke had less than 30% possession, but still beat Southampton 2-1 thanks to Peter Crouch's winner against one of his former clubs. Richarlison scored a 90th minute winner at Swansea last weekend and waited 5 minutes longer to salvage a point for Watford at West Brom this afternoon, but better late than never, I suppose. And it was another last minute defeat for Swansea today as Diafra Sakho won it late on for West Ham. And you can see 3 games tomorrow, including our live game Arsenal-Brighton from 11:30. Let's just show you the table then. Manchester City back at the top after United's win earlier on today. Chelsea there sitting 4th, 6 points adrift of the top 2. Watford continued to impress. Look at that, sitting in 5th place, just above Liverpool and Arsenal. At the bottom, where you can see how key West Ham's late win was, it's moved them up to 15th in the Premier League table. Palace's pointless season continues. Well deserved indeed, not just for the goal, but for his performance today as well. And look, we had to wait for the goal. It was worth it though when it came, wasn't it?
Oh, this is a fantastic goal in all aspects, the touch and the strike. But defensively here, they could do stuff. But when you play one touch with pace and play and move the way they did there, the finish off the left was great. Here you can see the 2 midfielders we mentioned before the game, Fabregas and Bakayoko. You can see he's behind you. You have to get him put in shape. The 2 centre-halves or the full-back there have to speak and dictate. No communication, no awareness of the midfielders behind them. That's the end product when you play at this level. Top draw.
I think the first touch from Kevin De Bruyne makes it that he played it one touch. Not many players think to play that past one touch. And I think that sort of sums up Chelsea's afternoon, that he got in positions in between Chelsea players, and Chelsea spent all day with Man City players 5 yards away from them, and they could never close that gap, and Kevin De Bruyne's quality did the rest.
The press was always late. We said all over the pitch it was always second late, a second off. Gary Cahill tries to come out but doesn't know whether it's the right thing to do. All the Chelsea back line are in the same line, the 5 of them, and clever players will punish you for that. You know, De Bruyne picks up a lovely little space in the area, but to go on, play a 1-2 and execute it with your left foot from 20 yards was phenomenal.
Brilliant.
How does that decision look now from Jose Mourinho to let De Bruyne leave Chelsea?
Well, I think Kevin De Bruyne himself spoke very well there, and I think it was a difficult time for the club because they had Hazard, I think they had Oscar and Willian had just signed, so you couldn't play them all. And Kevin De Bruyne, his development wasn't where it is now. You know, he was very good at a lot of things in his game. I think now he's great at a lot of things in his game, and of course it's easy with retrospect to look at Chelsea and say, why did you let him go? But sometimes players develop at different rates, and Kevin has gone away and actually made himself a world-class player.
So when you shared a training ground and a dressing room with him, you didn't necessarily see this from him. You didn't see that this might be his future.
You don't know. I mean, you always wonder about development, as I say. But as I say, he had good pace, he had good passing, he had good dribbling skills. But at that point, he couldn't get into our team. And one thing he had was a lot of ambition. You could see he was upset that he wasn't playing. And I don't mind that in a young player. He wanted to go away and prove that he's a player.
And credit to Roberto Martinez, it was with the national side where he first had the idea to move De Bruyne deeper. He came back. Pep said, if I see you playing there for your country, I'll try you there for City. And he's still, even when he plays deeper and when he doesn't, he's so potent, isn't he?
I think you can see that he's got a very intelligent football brain. He picks up spaces, like for the goal, behind people, goes into positions, and when he does get there, he executes, whether it's the weight of the pass in for another person to cross, or the final pass, or the shot. He's very intelligent, and what I liked about when he was here at Chelsea, he made a decision straight away. I want to leave. I want to go and play football. For a young player to do that at such a club, to get here is hard enough, but then to say I'm going to walk out the door and go and prove myself somewhere else, at probably a lesser club in a lesser league, is huge thing to do.
We were messaging in the week talking about this game, and the first thing that you picked up on then was the width for City. We discussed it in the build-up, and again today it was absolutely key to all the chances they had.
Yeah, it's certainly something that they work on. They try and stretch you, they have players really high and wide, and they try and get in down the sides. And what they try and do is they try and stretch teams. And what that does is it gives you the space to combine play 1-2s, or go at the men 1v1, and it just creates chances all the time. The quality that they've got, they're a very difficult side to stop.
I think it was 2 things. When they play so wide and there's such a threat out wide, firstly Chelsea are running, trying to cover wide spaces, and eventually you open up the space centrally, and then David Silva, who really came into his own in the second half, just finding so much space through the middle. So they attacked Chelsea on all fronts, and in the end just broke them down, just tired them out with their passing.
I think a big question as well we have for this season for this Chelsea team is, can you play Champions League and off the back of it come and play a big game in the Premier League. That is hard to do. While you're all there playing just Premier League games, they won the league last year and you can't take that away from them. But to do it playing Champions League football as well is another story, and they're the questions that have got to be answered.
I think the squad they've got now, they're capable to attack both. I think with Walker, obviously it's a blow with Mendy, but Delph coming in and doing a job today, I think they've got strength in depth to really go for both competitions.
Well done him, relaxed, smiling. I lost count of the number of times he used the word happy in that interview. He knows how crucial this win was, doesn't he?
I think he's so happy. I've not seen him so happy while at Manchester City, but I think there's a couple of reasons why. Big injuries this week. Mendy, Fabian Delph comes in and fills that position very, very well. So he thinks, look, I can cover that area maybe. Aguero out and they can still go and win at a place like this. And the way they done it, the way they dominated possession, they dominated this game against the champions at the moment. And I think that's a question mark he had. We've beat teams we should beat this season. Can we come somewhere like this and put in a performance and get the result at the same time? Yes, they can.
I feel like he feels he's got the team now capable to challenge domestically and in Europe. I think when he first come, you could tell by his demeanour in his interviews he was going to be a bit short, or he wasn't going to do it. But now you can see the confidence in his interviews that he's got the right team and the right squad.
You can just see the plan now, can't you, from Guardiola? But he said they gave it their all. He clearly blaming fatigue from their Champions League efforts in midweek.
I think it's in the picture, certainly, to come back late.
It's not the whole picture.
No, it's not the whole picture, because it would be a discredit to Manchester City to say that tiredness was the reason, because they played brilliantly. And even with tiredness, I think you can get in positions that makes your job slightly easier, and Chelsea were not in those positions today. So I definitely think it's in the picture. Difficult night, got back late, trying to recover. Manchester City didn't have that problem, but they played better than today and deserved to win that. He knows that.
Yeah, I think City had an advantage in terms of obviously the extra day rest, but there was still enough time for Chelsea to recover and come out today and play a lot better than they did. I felt like they showed Manchester City too much respect. I think at home here, there was a little period in the second half where Chelsea tried to press them, and the lift it gave the crowd was massive. But I think you've got to do that from the beginning of the game and really go for this City back four. I think City's weakness, if there is one, is the back four, and you've got to go and press them high up and try and win the ball back. But they just sat off City, showed them too much respect. I think obviously Chelsea's best player in Morata went off, which was a blow for them, but to bring Willian on basically showed us that Conte was just happy with defending all game long and basically settling for a point. And if you're the champions at home, I think the Chelsea fans should be disappointed with that today.
It sends a message to your opponents, doesn't it, when you do that?
Yeah, it does, but I thought tactically Conte got it wrong today. I thought that they got outnumbered all over the park. They left 3 centre-halves against 1 centre-forward, which is a waste. You're a man down in other areas. They were 5 against 3 in midfield down. When you got the 2 full-backs of Man City coming into play to join the midfield areas and playing in there for the majority of the time, and Chelsea's players couldn't get to grips with it. And then you've got the runners from wide areas, the play and moving, the combinations, the pace. They couldn't get near this Manchester City team.
I think what Rio touched on earlier about the 3 at the back, I think they're always going to play 3 because I think that's how he wants to play here. But what I felt as I watched the 2 side centre halves did not move and just get out far enough. So when the play gets played across to Fabian Delph on the left, and then he's got Sane outside him, that's when you need Azpilicueta to be able to get forward and get tight. That's when you need Rudiger behind to push with him. So I think that they never quite got to grips with that movement across and then pushing in. And once you don't do that, Manchester City can dominate the ball all game.
I suppose in some ways the performances of both, well, Morata was good till he went off. We believe it's a hamstring injury, but Hazard as well. You know, that sort of sums up the difference from that brilliant night in Europe against Atletico in the week.
Yeah, I thought that Chelsea were excellent midweek going forward, very positive, and I think having Moses in the team gives them that front foot. I thought in his team selection putting Azpilicueta out there from the start just showed that he wanted to be a bit more defensive today and stiffen it up a little bit more.
See that frustration there, can't you, as well?
Yeah, you could see in his demeanour he was frustrated, he was isolated, and when Willian come on, he just had no focal point.
Stephen's right, he's isolated, and that leads to frustration. And no matter how good you are, listen, Hazard's one of, if not the best player in the Premier League on his day, but he needs service. If you don't get the ball up to him, good ball, and then runs and support, doesn't matter who you are, you cannot do it on your own. And today was a fine example of that.
You wonder what he thinks of Batshuayi when he chooses to bring on Willian at home in a game like this. What does today say about Chelsea's squad? Have they got enough?
Yeah, I think they've got enough. It's unfortunate. I think tactically he just decided I want to get some more ball, and I think maybe he saw Batshuayi as a target, which is a target and a man to be around the box. But at that point, I think he wanted Willian for a bit more get on the ball and be a bit more creative. I think Chelsea were it's one of those games where you got outplayed today. Chelsea, everything they did kind of went wrong, and I think you just have to sort of wipe your hands and say they were better than us today. in the big scheme of the things now, if they can get back on track next week, and that things might change. But I think with the way it went today, you can't dwell on it. They were just better than Chelsea.
Is that the key from Conte? You've all played in big games and lost them at times in your careers. What was the key thing after those matches? Was it just simply moving on?
Yeah, completely. You can't dwell on that. You probably have a day of it. You get up tomorrow, you go to training a bit glum, and you come out a little bit brighter. Next game, where are we going now? Because if you dwell on it, you lose points. Simple as that.
Chelsea are still good enough. They're still a fantastic squad. They can bounce back from this. But I think the message going forward, what I'd say is, when you're at home, it doesn't matter who you're playing against. Come out fast and start well and believe in what you've got. You're the champions. You know, get the crowd up and then see what comes from that.
Okay.